Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel if you are new here. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah, and in today's video I will be showing you how to crochet these absolutely adorable caterpillars. This is a super quick pattern, works up really fast. It is beginner friendly. I do have to warn you, I do crochet pretty fast, so my recommendation will be to watch whatever round I do if you're a beginner, and then replay it and watch it on a slower speed and follow along. That's the best way to do it. If you need me to slow down a bit, I will also try my best to not speed through this pattern. Now, I will be working in this very lovely pink yarn, this color right here. This yarn is not only gorgeous, but it's perfect for Valentine's Day, which is just a couple days away. If you would like the written pattern, you can head over to my Ribblr shop or my Ko-Fi shop and you can purchase the pattern there. With all that said, let's just get right into this pattern. I'm actually going to be showing you a trick on how I work with this plushie yarn, especially the yarn where you pull it and it falls apart like that. So let me get my materials together and we'll go through the list and then we will get crocheting. For this little caterpillar pattern, you will need your yarn. I'm working with a size 6 plushie yarn. You also need a crochet hook to go with your yarn. I'm using a 6mm crochet hook. You also need a pair of scissors, a sewing needle. I'll just be using this plastic one here, and a stitch marker if you'd like to use a stitch marker. For these caterpillars here, I have color changed, so I did it obviously light purple on the top and then dark purple, and then switched between them for each section of the body. You can also use a self-striping yarn like this. It's not as clean, but it's just as cute, and you could also just do it in a solid color. I will be showing you how to change color for this tutorial though. You can decide to change color if you like, or you cannot. It's up to you. You also need a bit of string. You don't need this, but I will be using this to work with this yarn. You also need some stuffing, which I forgot to mention. So taking your spare bit of yarn, and this is any yarn that closes easily for a magic ring, and you're gonna wrap it around your fingers. Let me show you how to do that one more time. So take your yarn, hold it, and wrap it around 2 fingers once, and then cross it in the back and back over the top. Now you're going to put your yarn under both yarn tails and hold the loop like this. Now taking your plushie yarn, you'll want to hold your tail through your fingers, and this can be a little bit difficult at first, but just hold all the pieces together and you're going to pull through your 2 loops. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, just like so. And now in your loop, we will be single crocheting 6. Now, if this becomes too complicated for you, you can just do a regular magic ring or a chain 2 method. Either way, they're all interchangeable. So do what you like to do. Once you have 6 single crochets, what you can do is pull on your tails and it'll close really easily. Much easier than working with plain plushie yarn. So now for round 2, you can mark your end of your round if you wish. For round 2, we will increase in each stitch around. So those of you who are beginners, an increase is just 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Then you'll want to do this 6 times all the way around. Once you've come all the way back around, you can just reset your stitch marker onto the last stitch of your round. And before we continue on, we're actually going to secure our tails in the back. So whether you're using the regular chain 2 method without the extra tails, you should also tie a knot on the back of your piece to secure your magic ring or your chain 2 method, because over time they will become loose whether you like it or not. when you add a knot to the back, you're reinforcing it and making it a lot harder for it to come loose. Just like so. Just a couple knots will do. Doesn't need to be extravagant. And now for this next round, we will be single crocheting in each stitch around. There we have our single crochet round finished. Reset your stitch marker, and now we will single crochet in the next 9 stitches. Once you've completed your 9 stitches, we will actually begin our antennas. So we're going to do this by chaining 4, just like so, and then we will slip stitch along the chain. We'll skip that first chain and slip stitch in the next 3 chains. Now you could do this anywhere in the chain. I like to do this in the back humps for a cleaner look. Now we will be single crocheting in the next 2 stitches. I like to close up any hole gap I might have by inserting my hook through that front loop of the single crochet and into the next stitch directly, and then single crocheting as normal. And this just closes up any gap that might be here when working with plushy yarn especially. Once you've single crochet 2, we're going to work our second antenna, which we will chain 4 and then skip that first chain and slip stitch 3. We will repeat that trick, insert your hook into the single crochet, into the next stitch, and single crochet once. And that's the end of that round. We have our antennas work directly into the piece, and you can move your crochet hook, or not your crochet hook, your stitch marker, back to the end of the round. Now what we will do is decrease in each stitch around for a total of 6 decreases. So I do the invisible decrease where I pick up both front loops and then just single crochet normally. When you get to the antennas, you can just decrease around the antennas. This might be a little tight if you're doing the invisible decrease, but you can do it. I believe in you. And you can do the same thing around the last antenna. I say last like there's more than 2, but you understand. Now here's the point. I forgot to mention when we first started, but you can stuff your piece whenever you'd like. You can stuff it before the decrease rounds or after, whatever's easier for you. I like to stuff after each section is complete, but I especially know with the smaller yarn, it might be hard to get stuffing in there. So keep that in mind. You can stuff whenever. I will be changing colors now, and the way I will do this is by slip stitching in the next stitch, chaining 1, and fastening off with a short tail. If you are not changing colors, you don't need to do any of that, and you can follow the next step. Joining on with your second color, you will just create a slip knot onto your hook, and we'll begin the first body section. Before we do that though, we will give our head a little stuffing. If you're working with a smaller yarn, you can just use the end of a pencil or a stuffing stick if you have one. Just like that. And you can always stuff it more afterward. Now we will join our secondary color right on top of that slip stitch we made with our previous color, and we'll single crochet directly through, and then we will single crochet in that stitch once more to create an increase. Then increase in all the rest of your stitches for a total of 12 stitches. just like so. Once you come back around, you'll just be single crocheting directly across, no slip stitching or anything. For this next round, you will single crochet 2, and then we will bobble, and we'll do that twice. So starting with our 2 single crochets, we're going to bobble, and I will quickly show you how to do that for if you've never done bobble before. You're going to do this by yarning over and inserting your hook into the next stitch. Yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And now we're going to repeat that 3 more times. You want a total of 4 double crochets, or partially completed double crochets, and you want to do this all in the same stitch. I don't know if I said that. When you have finished with the incomplete double crochets, you should have 5 loops on your hook. You can pull through all 5 of them, and then we'll repeat that single crochet 2 and bobble again. Yarn over just like that, like you're crocheting a double crochet, but you aren't finishing it yet. Now we will single crochet in our remaining stitches. You should have 6 single crochets left. Now, depending on your yarn type, you might have to move the bobble a stitch or 2 to the left or right. If this happens, it's just in a single crochet round, so you can just move it if you have to, 1 stitch over or 1 stitch in. I know with this one, I did have to move the bobbles a little bit, so keep that in mind when you're working as well. Just make sure this first set lines up under the antennas, like so. For this next round, we will just be single crocheting in each stitch around. There we are. Once you've finished your single crochet round, we will actually repeat our last bobble round. Single crochet 2 and bobble. Single crochet 2 and bobble again for our second leg. Now single crochet in the remaining stitches of your round, so 6 more single crochets if you don't have to align the bobbles in any different way. Now if you decide to change color in a different way, make sure to secure your inside tails. I like to secure it just to make sure the slip knot that we created doesn't, poke out at any point in time. And you can just tuck these right in there. Now we will be decreasing in each stitch around. So if you have a hard time stuffing, now would be the time to stuff and then decrease. But I do not need to stuff the body until afterward. I do need to give the head a little bit more stuffing though. Just like that. When working with this heavier yarn, it's pretty easy to stuff after the decrease. It's mostly with the smaller yarns that it becomes difficult. So decrease in every stitch around. Now at this point, you will just be repeating each body section over and over until you have the amount of body sections you want, or how long you want it to be. I like to do 3 body sections on my caterpillars, but you can do more or you can do less. It might look a little wonky if you do less, but I will be changing color once and then one more time after that. You can re-watch the body section. You can go back. I think I'll put the timestamp on the screen, that's the word, if you would like to rewatch how to do it. I will be fast forwarding because I don't have enough space on my phone. I just admitted that I'm filming on my phone. I don't have enough space on my, yeah, it's a phone, sorry. I'm not super professional, I don't have a camera yet. I'm getting there. Anyways, just create as many body cavities as you want and come back here and we will close up and we will do the eyes together and then we will be done. So head back over there if you need it. Otherwise, here we go. Alright, I've just finished the 2 remaining body sections that I want to add to this piece. I've not fastened off yet, and hopefully you haven't either, because we need to fasten off with a length of yarn for sewing. So make sure you give yourself enough space. We will be slip stitching, chaining one, and leaving a length of yarn because we have to sew up that bottom hole. So make sure you leave a length. And then I need to finish stuffing real quick. There we go, and now we need to sew the bottom hole up. So just taking your needle, thread your yarn, and we will be collecting all the front loops of our single crochets and pulling tight to close the piece up. Pull tight, and there it is closed. Now what I like to do is create an arch and pull the yarn through it to make a knot, and then weave this tail in just a few times through the body to make sure it won't come loose. There we go. And you could just trim this tail and tuck in all your fluffies. So now at this point we only have one thing left to do, and that is to stitch the eyes on. I'll just be using a bit of black yarn. I just need a small bit of yarn, and you could use any yarn type you'd like as well. It doesn't have to be plushy yarn. Insert your needle through the bottom of the doll, doesn't matter where, and out. You want to be 2 rounds. You see these 2 rounds here, and then we have 3 rounds in the front. And I like to make the eyes 1 stitch wide and stitch it just a few times, just like that. And then I'll pull this tail through and go through to the other side with 2 rounds and then 3 rounds on the front. I like to pull this a little bit to sink them in a tiny bit and repeat on the other side. And then you can just pull your tail out where the other one is. Get all that extra stuffing off. Just like that. So just little eyes. Tie these 2 tails together and weave them into your piece. And then just trim your tails. And of course, tuck in the fluffies. There you have your very own finished caterpillar. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you have some of the cutest caterpillars now. If you have an Instagram, you can tag me. My account is Loops and Knots Crochet, just like my YouTube. So if you finish it and you have an Instagram, make sure to share your posts. I'd absolutely love to see your finished caterpillars. You can also check out the written pattern over on my Ribblr account as well, and my Ko-Fi shop. Look at all these colors. With all that said, I think that's about it for this tutorial. Make sure to tune in next time. Next week I will be doing a restock, which will be featuring these little guys as well. So if you'd like to buy a caterpillar, say you can't crochet, you can purchase them from me in my next eBay restock. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!